Let's go. Episode 112 of the No Ideas Original Podcast. Let me bring the crew in. Yo, what's good?
What's good, y'all?
Yeah, so I guess we know who Zane is running with for for Sunday, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yo, Zane, what's up,
low,
bro?
Zane.
Not much, man. Just been cooling out, man. Just been cooling lately or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to put some things together for the podcast.
Zane, turn your volume up. Your volume is low. Or it may be on my end. Rob, is it low for you?
Nah, I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear Zane loud though?
Nah, he's a little low.
You hear me now?
A little bit louder.
Say it again?
Turn your volume up a little bit.
Turn it all the way up, bro.
Y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right.
Yo,
Yeah,
Zane,
just working on some. What up?
I want to say, yo, I miss you, yo. Where you been, son?
Now I've been cooking up something, man, for the podcast, and
Okay.
about to have some arms and legs for the podcast, man.
Salute to you,
Working on this nice little thing with a homeboy of mine. Y'all meet him eventually. We're gonna bring like the 22 and beyond version of how On Living Color was, but our own little spin to it.
Okay.
And see, now the good thing about that is like whether it's Dave Chappelle's show, whatever, Saturday Night Live, yada yada yada. The main thing about it is that the people that I'm selecting for these roles for these skits, they all look like these damn celebrities. So that makes it even better.
Right.
Prime example, like when Dave Chappelle had the skit about Prince, it was funny, but he ain't look like Prince. So imagine if somebody looked like Prince and was still doing the same type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. You've been working
so I'm investing in a lot of the different type of cameras and all that stuff, the props and all that other good things. So we'll all talk about it after the episode, man. But I got at least about 100 people that's down with it, bro.
Okay.
That's what's up, man.
You know what I'm saying? So we about to have a nice little arms and legs for the No Ideas Original Podcast, man.
That's dope.
Yo, shout out to my young brother Zani. I see you, young bro. He's on the check-in.
Yo, let's get right into these topics. I don't know if you guys are following the story or not, but this week in court, Cardi B ended up winning, I think originally $1 million lawsuit against the YouTuber Tasha K for defamation of character. Since then, her award has increased because I think they're also asking for Tasha K to pay her attorney fees, which put it at close to $4 million. So I wonder from you guys' perspective, is this a win for Cardi, or is this an attack on the First Amendment and Tasha K's right to freedom of speech? What do y'all think?
Where, Rob?
Well, to be honest with you, you mentioned the First Amendment, but we're allowed to say what we want, but if they're not true, that's what holds up. Cardi B, shout out to her, man. She did a great thing, man. That fire that was in the Bronx, she was able to cover some of the funeral costs for some of those families. I want to shout her out for that, first of all. That was dope. But, this lady Tasha had told her viewers that she had herpes, and she went on a whole list of different things. I mean, come on, man. You're a public figure such as Cardi. Is it true? She talked about her cheating on her husband's on drugs. There's a slew of different things that she was allegedly saying that, that created this suit. Is it a First Amendment? I don't know, man. I mean, you got to be careful what you say, even on here with us. And that's the reason why when we first started, we left the gossip out.
Yeah.
Because if someone hears on the back end the things that we talk about, they can hit us, man. They can be like, "Yo, Rob ran his mouth and said some shit, and now I'm ready to commit suicide." You know, I mean, and that's one of the things Cardi B was talking about. She was like, "Yo, man, I suffer from fatigue, weight loss, anxiety. I had to seek a therapist." That's true. I don't, whether it's true or not. I don't, you putting out some false information is always whack.
Mm-hmm.
But homegirl is like, look, I was just doing my job. You know what I mean? I was reporting the news. My platform was about bringing news to the table, and she called it the machine. The machine is trying to bully me into thinking that, you know what I'm saying? What I have written, I had written it down.
Yo, let
What she said.
let me say this though. Like, it's funny you mentioned that because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I looked at this similar to, all of the stories that come out, and people that follow us may notice there are certain things that we talk about. There are certain things that we've strategically stayed away from. Now, all of us originally from the Bronx, so of course we have opinions on things that happen in the street and stuff like that. But we've made, I think, a strategic decision to avoid kind of integrating that into our show and the things that we talk about. And the reason why I think is because I know specifically for me, like, there has to be a level of responsibility and accountability.
Yes.
Like, what people forget with some of these individuals as celebrities or even regular people, like, these are human beings at the core, and what you say has meaning. Like, if you're providing misinformation about somebody or about something to one person alone, that's a bad thing. And I think that a lot of these people, in particular on YouTube or whether it's on IG Live or whatever it is, the journalistic integrity is going out the window. If it is about journalism, I think people just rush to put out whatever story to get whatever clicks, likes, views, or whatever it is, and they don't vet it. They don't care if it's true or not. It's just to me sensationalism, and people put the story out there. And to me, this is an example of Cardi B having time to hold her accountable for disseminating that misinformation. And I think for some people may struggle with it because there's like this belief that if you're somebody who you're supposed to be above and well off and stuff like that, that you're supposed to take these shots and you're supposed to have thicker skin around it. But the reality of it is that, these are human beings that you're talking about, and you up here talking about that they have sexually transmitted diseases and these things as it involves their kids and their husbands and stuff like that. Like, I honestly feel like that the woman, this wasn't an issue as it relates to the first
She crossed the
amendment.
line.
This was an issue, as it relates to her getting called out, and Cardi B just basically saying, all right, since you think these things are true and you want to have these conversations with these things, not only am I going to prove that you're providing misinformation, I'm also going to sue you for defaming my character for providing this information. And it should be a lesson learned.
And she got to pay punitive damages. She got to pay them litigation costs. Son, she got to come out her pockets. But she was saying, she allegedly said the machine was bullying her, while the machine and corporate America interests is protecting prostitution, drug use, promiscuity. You know what I'm saying? They're glorifying violence that wreaks havoc in our society. Now, all them things, depending on who's listening or who's watching, all the things may be true from a corporate standpoint, but what you allegedly accuse this lady of having and doing, and if it's not factual, son, you gotta deserve to get sued for that, son. And you trying to make it look like someone's bullying you, but you was the bully. Looking for likes or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? That shit was right.
Didn't Cardi B ask her to do a retraction?
She did. Well, I think she did. I think she took him down. She took those videos down.
Him down after the lawsuit. But Cardi B originally went to her and told her, "Yo, this is misinformation. You need to retract this story." And I think that she told Cardi B the only way that she would retract the story is if Cardi B actually came on her platform and had a discussion about it. Go ahead, Z.
See, the one thing that we both know about Tasha K, she's not an avid reader of the Art of War. And you got to understand when she keeps saying in repetition about the machine, she has to understand if a person is worth a hell of a lot more money than you, well-known millionaire, A-list celebrity, yada, 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 you can't come out, like, she should have known what the end game was going to be. Like, Cardi B has, you know, stuff when she goes to the public, and she should have known, because I think it's like basically with Tasha K was like she was trying to be Wendy Williams, but it definitely was a bad backwash, because okay, in the sense of Wendy Williams, she has a major conglomerate of like business advisors and a multi media network that can, even though Wendy Williams can go off and say X, Y, Z about certain celebrities, they will still back her. Tasha K don't have nobody to back her on that
list. she just out here winging it, creating a podcast, winging it.
She created her own situation.
Z, your volume is low.
My bad. She already created her own situation, and I don't feel sorry for her. When you talk about somebody has herpes, and she said that her Cardi B's father was a rapist and all this other stuff, and a multitude of a lot of stuff. Like she can't just think that Cardi B was gonna just sit down and let that happen.
Listen, man, we come from an environment, and I hate to promote violence. You make accusations like that, you get punched in your mouth, P.
Yeah.
You get stepped to it, and I want you to prove that what you're saying is true.
Right.
I just think that has no integrity. And then you're pretty much promoting your podcast, because she's back on air today. She's like, I'm right back at it today. Wow. She got to
get them donations to pay for that lawsuit. But you know what?
Yeah,
the stuff about the machine stuff though, and I agree, Zane. I think that, you know, the difference between her and Wendy Williams is when you do have a corporate conglomerate behind you, then, you know, you have the legal weaponry to be able to actually go to war around this stuff. Right. But I also think that it's the strategy that people use when they get jammed up or trying to put society on trial. To me, it's just it's like an old tired tactic. Like, you know, if you can't get called out for whatever your issue is, and then as a result of you getting called out for your issue, you know, like saying you get caught with drugs, you go to court and your defense is, well, there's drugs everywhere in society. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, yeah, it's like, you know, she's attempting to do what many of these people do. She's attempting to try to spin the narrative to try to play victim, you know, to make it almost like this whole narrative around, well, the corporate giant is putting their foot on my neck as the little person. And to a degree, I kind of feel like from this, I think about like in my business where, you know, we've had like staff who have been upset with us for whatever reason, you know, and they'll run to the internet and slander us to clients, whatever it is. And the expectation around that is that we should do nothing. We should do nothing. We should say nothing about it. And the reason why is because they feel like, you know what, you're the bigger entity. You could stand, you know, to absorb the slander. And if you fight back, then it becomes this narrative of you being a bully. You're
right, now you're the bully.
You're picking on a small person. But if you really think about this at its crux, Cardi B's lawyer fees are more than the actual award she won for the damages. So that tells you how much he was willing to invest in this, and that is not necessarily about money. You know, Cardi B's legal strategy could have been like, yo, I'm just going to keep this woman tied up in court for so long that she knew, because this woman not only got to pay her lawyer fees, she got to pay Cardi B's lawyer fees also. She got to pay all those legal fees associated with it. You know, so the easiest thing to do would have been for her to check her ego, retract the story, and just kept it moving. But I just think that
offer an apology. Offer an apology. Be honest. Offer an apology. My bad. Yeah. I screwed up. I read it somewhere and I took it. I didn't fact check. That's how you be accountable. But you know, accountable is passe nowadays. Ain't nobody accountable for nothing. Everyone likes to pass the buck. She even said the machine was threatening me. who the fuck is the machine? Who is the machine? Can somebody tell me who the machine is? I get her gist and I know where she's going with it, but who's the machine? The machine, the boogeyman? Come on, girl.
Rob, that's her defense, though. That's her defense.
That's her defense.
You put society on trial. Like, here it is, I'm the small person, and now this big, large corporate entity is coming in to try to squash my First Amendment right of freedom of speech. Like, nah, like, you have to own up and take accountability to what it is you did. But yo, to me, she should be a good example of all these dudes. And I know y'all watch YouTube. I watch YouTube too. There are dudes on YouTube that just say the first thing that come to mind with no evidence, no credibility, nothing. They just say whatever it is to get a click.
Just fly off the handles.
To get a click.
You know what, man? I'm glad you said that, Shy, because we live in the days of saying ever since the inception of Instagram and all these other major platforms that have a lot of weight to them, popular belief is trumping facts.
That's the truth.
And that's sad, man. It's sad.
That's a good point, Say. That's a good point.
Yep. That's the truth. And that's where we at. Like, people get online, they spew whatever kind of venom it is that they want to say about these people. And then what they don't realize is that eventually it comes across the desk of one of these celebrities, and one of these celebrities are like, oh, really? You had this stuff to say about me? And they actually take the time out and spend the money to get these things correct. Now, here's what I think that people don't need to get confused about this. If you're a small fry, it's much more difficult to prove defamation of somebody because you don't have the attorneys that Cardi B has at her disposal.
That can,
We talking about hundreds. We talking about hundreds of dollars per hour for Cardi B to win this $1 million judgment against this lady. So all these people that think that now they're gonna have, they're gonna run out and they're gonna get all these lawsuits for all the stuff that's been said on YouTube and the back and forth and all that. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, Cardi B is a person who has the financial means and a legal team to actually support her claims, and Tasha K made it easy for her.
And even if she was running low on paper, she got her husband. Her husband got paper too.
Yeah, he do.
Cardi B ain't never getting that $4 million though.
At litigation, her litigation fees is like 1.3 million. Like, wow.
She gonna break even.
You got?
She gonna break even. Or maybe even be in the red, like in the negative, a couple of $100,000 after it's all said and done.
What they gonna do? Garnish Tasha K's YouTube check?
Listen, whatever flows, whatever.
you know something.
Hey,
I'm gonna tell you though what's crazy about this. Tasha K doubled down in the video where she addressed it. Tasha K doubled down on it and said that she's appealing. So you're gonna appeal, and you're gonna appeal, hire more lawyers, run up more legal fees to defend yourself against something that you did, and you were found guilty of. Like, I don't know what her grounds for appeal is. Maybe her grounds for appeal is that her representation was shoddy. Her original legal team was no good, and she didn't get a fair trial. I don't know what it is, but
she said she was being bullied. She said she was being bullied.
But that you know what I'm thinking for that. You can't appeal saying, I want to appeal the ruling. I was found guilty, but in fact, I was the one being bullied. You don't have grounds for appeal based on that.
You know what, two fellas, she might pass the buck, like whatever, because, she had to pay a certain amount of money to get some type of insider, well, quote unquote, insider information from these different, like, various media or agencies or whatever, or even PR. So she might start passing the buck down to them, and then going to try to sue them because of the situation that she's in. Because they gave her. Oh wow!
She tried it. She tried it. She tried it. The person she supposedly got the information from, she tried to come at them for it. But here's the thing, though. Once Cardi B said no, it's not true, she doubled down. Like I said, she doubled down on it. And told Cardi B, well, you got to come on my show and all this. And then at the trial, my understanding
that was the reach. That was the reach right there. You got to come on the show. Right.
Yeah, but what kind of person to do that? Like, she has no morals. Like, she rather just, she obsessed with Cardi B or something?
Nah.
It seems like she must be obsessed with her.
I don't think it's about the obsession of the person. I think it's about again, like the want to get the views, the want to get the followers, the want to have the story first. That stuff, that seems to be like really big on YouTube. Like, everybody want to get their views and their numbers up and everything. And I get it, and it's a lot more difficult to get your numbers up when you're credible and when you're not gossiping and making stuff up. You know,
Yo,
like
we're in
I
the
would
era.
imagine the video that she did involving that probably got millions and millions of views.
Yeah, we in the era of scammers, man. People always trying to get a buck easy, man. And that was her way, and it backfired on her. Pretty much, man. It backfired on her. God bless her, man. I hope, I hope she finds a way to pay that bill off, because it's gonna haunt her ass.
So is it right? Is it true that she, I guess, was found in court and she admitted to lying, or that's a rumor?
No, I think they actually did. I think they actually did catch her, and I think that they put her husband on the stand, and her husband threw under the bus also during the trial.
Say word.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Gonna be some cold sheets. You're gonna be sleeping on the couch for a couple of weeks.
I wonder,
if not worse than that.
Though, does she think she the new Larry Flint? Like, is that what it's about? Like, because like guys like Larry Flint was fighting for the First Amendment, and Larry Flint was a millionaire many times over that had the money to keep fighting for the First Amendment. But what is her grounds for an appeal? What is she gonna go to court and say? Well, I'm going to court and I'm gonna sue. I want to sue society because I feel I'm being bullied by a person who got money that don't want me gossiping about them.
Yeah, she said
Tasha K, aka Tasha Smollett.
She said her First Amendment rights were painted in the public eye as vile, malicious, and as a bully. But when you look at it, it's exactly what you did, man. You made these allegations, heinous allegations about this young lady that had her, she kind of just, like, that ain't even true. Like, why you gonna say that about my family? I couldn't kiss my daughter because of this. I mean, that's just taking it too far, B.
Yo, where's her self-awareness at, though? Because all the stuff she accused,
and you on a platform like that, you ain't got no idea.
Yo, doesn't it seem bizarre that all the stuff she accused the machine of is all the things that she did?
She's the machine, son. She tried to.
Yo, everything she accused the machine of, all the things she did. But yo, in any event, I hope it works out for Tasha K. I'm sure Tasha K is going to continue to do well on YouTube and get her donations and get her views and stuff like that. And I think that this should be a good case study for people who have platforms that go on these platforms and make allegations, and just like Zane said, like, think that popular opinion is facts, or think that, no, it's another big one, speculation, thinking that what they're speculating is facts also.
That's facts.
What should happen as a result of this is people should look at this and say, I need to be more responsible if I'm going to be talking to the masses, because you never know when that video or that audio is going to come across somebody who's litigious desk, and they're going to be like, oh, really? These are the things you had to say about me? And thank God Tasha K is in a place financially where, this didn't ruin her, because a lot of people get taken into the deep end, the water, and drowned as a result of these lawsuits, and it finish them up. So, I'm sure she'll survive it. She just have a little stain on her, and hopefully it helps her get better from a journalist standpoint.
She got a decent following, so people still like who she is. This is just a lesson, man. Don't put no information out that you ain't got no facts about. Stop lip professing out here, man. Have some facts.
Now, do y'all think that she's gonna find other ways to try to get some paper, like a book, or different type of interviews and all that type of stuff?
She's doing a documentary on this, I think they said, which is smart. Smart on her part. Yeah, that's smart on her part. They said she's doing a documentary. So
I guess any news is good news, huh?
She's a good
She's digging a bigger hole.
Yeah. Man, did you guys see, or how, I'm sure you've been following in the news, like the uptick in all the violence in New York City? Today was the police officer that got killed recently. It was his funeral. It's very tragic and sad to see those two young police officers lose their life. But as a result of all the violence that's been going on, and them finding all these guns on people and everything, New York City Mayor Adams, their brand new mayor, is now talking about bringing back plainclothes police. Now, plainclothes police was disbanded under Mayor de Blasio mainly
right.
because of all of the discrimination that was associated with stop and frisk. What's your position on plainclothes police? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Go ahead, Rob.
Listen, at this point, the way the crime is in the city, just recently someone ran up in Jacoby busting shots. Like, come on, son, you
I heard
can't even
about
go to
that.
the doctor without having to duck bullets. That's crazy. And there's a lot of other things that's going on in New York when it comes to guns. My question always is, where are these guns coming from? That's one.
The South.
Because Smith and Wesson ain't in New York. Yeah, that's true, because people probably go to gun shows down in the South and then, transport them up here. That makes great sense. At this point, the mayor is conducting these listening tours to challenge the past anti-crime unit. So he's creating this unit that's going to be going into communities, having dialogue with the community to find out, what is it that you really need from us to make sure things are safe. I think we talked about this before. What happened to the beat cops? What happened to the cops that would just generally walk the neighborhood, speak to the business owners, the bodegas, the Chinese, whatever it is, and say, look, I'm in this area, and just to let you know, I'll be here from the hours of 8 to 4, and then shifts change, and there might be another officer. But if they have them come out, these plainclothes cops coming back here, there has to be some training involved, because it'll go right back to stop and frisk. It'll go right back to profiling, because they'll be like, well, look, there's so many out here. I got to do what I got to do, And unfortunately, rest in peace to, Officer Mara and Officer Jason Rivera, young guy, 22 years old. Those guys were ambushed. So it was a setup for them guys to come into the area that they went in on some domestic violence, and then all of a sudden they lose their lives. So my stance on it, yes, to get the guns off the street, because there's too many crimes going on. Since the beginning of the year, violent crimes have went up about 65%, and it's not even 30 days in. That's crazy. So with that being said, I'm for it, as long as, you get the right people in place and they're out there to really do the work, not out there profiling. And because I got my hat like this, yeah, he looked like a knucklehead, let me go check his pockets. And I'm a grown ass man. I ain't gonna have that shit. You know what I mean? But I'm for it. I'm be honest with you, I'm for it.
Wow. Tell you the truth, like, it's crazy how New York has some of the most strict gun laws in the nation, and you have stuff like you guys just said that just happened. The last several weeks, it was a couple of other situations where cops were being shot too. So I believe it was some cops that got shot down in Harlem and some cops that got shot in the Bronx. The ones you're talking about was the ones in the Bronx or Harlem?
The ones in the Bronx. Yeah. Just recently, yeah.
Right. And I see right now, man, it's like it's too much excessive force. And if they do decide to bring back the plainclothes cops, they actually have the upper hand, because ever since it had stopped to where they start to bring it back again, they have a tag team partner. They have cameras. They have audio and all the other stuff. So you figure, for the longevity, it's cheaper for the state to pay for these cameras that have audio and all the other stuff than to pay for whenever a cop starts to when they retire and have to pay pension and also insurance and stuff like that in between time. So it's a lot cheaper with these audio cameras and stuff too. But on a sense where you have like the excessive force, you have like injuries, you have lawsuits, you have dents in the cop's pension, you have non-sufficient evidence. It's a various multitude of different things that's going on out there. So I just believe that the mayor has a lot on his plate, man. Eric Adams has a lot on his plate, but like you brothers said, it does take to where the cops have to walk through the neighborhood and build some type of rapport with the people and ask, like you said, ask what they want, what they need and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, they here to serve the people. They're not here to kill the people and do all this other stuff. They actually, you know, public servants, civil servants.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think, and then another thing too that I think is messing up a lot of things too is, I mean, shout out to a lot of the brothers and sisters that's in the military, but then you have a lot of the bad ones that's converting from the military and getting on the force. And you figure you can have one class A, class B military, male to female, that can do, one of them could do 5 of what the regular police can do. That's still wet behind the ears, if not more. So there's a lot of different things, a lot of checks and balances that's going on out there in New York, man. And at the end of the day, you know, but what I really think it is, fellas, as we all already know, since way back in the day, it takes the community to build up each other first.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you have that trust, that's when you can send the olive branch and have the police come in and have more type of trust. It's basically trust issues.
But let's be honest, man.
Until Eric Adams can get that fixed, that's one of the main things that he has to get fixed. Once he gets the trust issue fixed, then things will be a lot better out there in the city.
That's an ongoing issue I think that police have had. Like, I think at its essence, the whole thing around returning plainclothes cops is a great idea. When you bring stop and frisk into the equation, though, you know, that's when it becomes dicey, because stop and frisk was a tool that was weaponized against people of color, that was proven to be unconstitutional based on discrimination. So if stop and frisk means that, you know, in New York City, the only people that's getting stop and frisked is me, you, and Rob, Zane, then that's profiling. That's not stop and frisk. That's profiling. And I think that stop and frisk, again, like, you know, at its essence, like if it was done correctly, it could be a powerful tool and a deterrent to get guns off the street. When you start talking about plainclothes cops and stuff like that, like, yeah, that to me, strategically, that makes sense. But the other thing is that, remember when we had cops that walked the beat in our neighborhood, they were put there as a deterrent, right? Like, if you see a police officer supposed to deter you from committing crime, if you put plainclothes police in a community and people that don't know they police, you know, like, does that really reduce the amount of violence, or does that just give the police a better chance to probably catch the person after they've actually committed the violence? You know, at the end of the day, we want to prevent the violence, right?
Right.
That should be the ultimate. To me, that should be the ultimate objective, to try to deter people from, you know, how you call it, from committing violence. It's the same way now. Think about it. Before, we used to have police cars that would post up and have speed traps. Now they don't have speed traps. They just have cameras all over the place. Even if they don't have a camera, they have a sign that says your speed is being monitored by a camera as a deterrent. So sometimes that visual presence of seeing a police officer in the community may help to reduce the crime. But it goes back to relationships. You know, like how do the police have relationships with the people in the community? And I'm also a firm believer that I don't think that all cops are bad or have bad intentions. I think that's a very difficult job that, honestly, I would never want that job. And that's a job where people are underpaid. Also, I think in New York City, what's going on, though, there's so many other things that factor in place that people don't really realize, that are sort of like, it's sort of like a continuum of things that they you know, it's a domino effect. So, you know, people want stop and frisk, and they want folks off the street. Well, you get them to Rikers Island, and guess what? Rikers Island is overcrowded, and Rikers Island is a mess now. There's a whole bunch of discussion also right now in New York City about bail reform, right? People are going crazy saying that, you know, the whole bail reform has now led to people being back on the street rather than being locked up, right? So,
if it ain't a violent crime,
bail reform should be a case-by-case. Bail should be a case-by-case situation, right? There shouldn't be a situation where somebody steals a bike, and because they can't pay bail of $1,000, they got to sit on Rikers Island, which is already overcrowded and ran down. You know, like, I see the need to have somebody who's committed a heinous crime or did something horrible, where they shouldn't be able to receive bail as easy as somebody else. So when you add those things into the mix, where, you know, stop and frisk, where you tying up the court system, bail, you know, removing bail reform where you arresting people for, I don't even know if they still do it. You're arresting people because they got tickets when they hop the train and stuff like that. All it's doing is creating a domino effect of putting people in Rikers Island, jamming up Rikers Island, having Rikers Island overpopulated for what? Like, I don't know if there's been enough of creativity put in place to sort of resolve some of this stuff. And I think that New York City is considered to be liberal. And here's the thing I think that what happens, like when you start looking at like liberal places, like when these things don't work, immediately people give pushback without stopping to think like, okay, this may be one scenario that didn't work. Only time you hear about bail reform and bail reform being horrible is when somebody who previously under that guise commits a crime. Then they're like, yo, see, if we didn't have bail reform, this dude wouldn't have been back on the street. But you don't hear about all the other people who, as a result of bail reform, probably had an opportunity to go home. And the biggest story that anytime you talk about bail reform that comes up is Khalif Browder. You know, Khalif Browder always comes up and people are like, yo, this is a dude who's no longer alive because of what he was subjected to as a result of bail reform. So I'm just saying, like, I think it's the idea around the plainclothes cops and stuff like that. What's up, Tola? Plainclothes cops and all that. I think it's a good idea, but I think that those are things that they need to think through. And they need to make sure that when they roll them out and they're implemented, taking into consideration, you know, community relationships, taking into consideration, is this a discriminatory practice? Changing the whole systematic approach to how they go about implementing these things. Because if they don't, it's not going to work.
It's not, man. And there are people attacking the Manhattan DA Briggs on a soft crime approach. And just to your point with the bail reform, man, you know, it's allowing people who get charged with misdemeanors and nonviolent felonies to walk. You know what I mean? And it's more catered to those who are doing violent crimes. They're not letting those guys go. Those guys go straight to detention. So if you do steal a bike, you go in front of the judge, and then you're released on your own recognizance. See you in 2 months, and whatever happens after that. But you know, stop and frisk. Son, they was doing that before it was even called stop and frisk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I lived in a neighborhood where that was almost every day, son. As soon as you turn a corner, yo, come here. Let me check your pockets. Where you doing? Where you going? Go to the store. Why you
stop and frisk cost Bloomberg the presidency when Bloomberg was running for the presidency because it came back to haunt him.
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. So listen, man, we do need to clean up the guns in the hood. The hood, everywhere. Fuck that. I've seen so many videos of just violence, but using pistols. I mean, it's like, yo, man, it's almost disheartening, man. And that needs to stop. That really needs to stop, man. Get the guns off the streets at a high rate and at any cost. But how do you do it? But the only thing I don't want to see no rogue cops trying to be super cops out here. You know what I'm saying? Because that right there is going to turn the city it's going to get crazy if you get somebody out there trying to be RoboCop, son.
You know what, too, though? Like, for so many years, especially being that the Black Lives Matter campaign was going on and everything that was under that umbrella, a lot of these cops, they had to ease back because they was messing up their pension. All them damn lawsuits, you know what I'm saying, was messing up their pension. So now it's like, being that they have these plainclothes cops coming back, is that going to be the antecedent for more of the craziness to happen again, or you think it'll level out?
I don't know. That's what I said. To me, I think it has to be well thought out and strategic. It's like you can't just insert dudes in the hood undercover and expect for there to be like these great results. You know, like the practices. It's a lot of times like people give the police heat all the time. It's not the police. Sometimes it's the system and the expectations of these police officers. And you know, you put these people in a position where they want to go home. You know, now don't get me wrong. There are some cops that are just not good police officers. They shouldn't probably be doing, you know, they shouldn't probably be policing. But at the end of the day, I think if there's going to be a major change in the community, it has to start with the investment of the actual people in the community. You know, like I think we were saying that last week. We were talking about the, you know, what happened to the OGs and stuff like that in the community. But if you get people that live in the community to actually invest and reinvest in the community, then I think things will go a lot further. You know, you look at one of the, you know, and I was trying to get him to come on, but he couldn't come on. But one of the things I appreciate about like a detective that I used to do programming with in Mount Vernon was that he was originally from Mount Vernon and he had an investment in Mount Vernon. Whereas, you know, some of the other police officers lived on Long Island or lived way upstate. You know, they weren't a product of the community. They were just coming in and they were doing the job. And I think it's a lot different from just being on the job versus, yo, I'm really invested in the success of the community, you know, like, and that community policing goes hand in hand. It can't just be, you know, where, like I said, you just plop the police officer in the community and be like, yo, here you go. You in the hood now, make it work. Like, nah, they have to put a little bit more strategy and thought process into it, because even with the whole piece around putting plainclothes cops in it, you know, like I wouldn't be surprised, sadly, if you see more body dropping.
Yeah. No, so one of the things the mayor said is that you need they call the new gun unit the neighborhood safety team. And they're looking to provide training, supervision, and risk monitoring, enhancing community relations. Now, will all these officers take this training? Or they gonna just throw the training away? Like, look, my life is on the line, man. If I gotta pop somebody, I'm gonna pop somebody. I'm not getting popped. You know, and they'll probably use the situation what happened to these two young cops as a reason as to why they feel as though their lives are threatened. I'm gonna shoot first. I'm not gonna wait to be shot at. You know what I mean? You don't want that. And I think my OG Pod just mentioned, he said, you know, American gun lobbyists are very powerful in this nation, man. That's why we got guns all over the fucking place. You know what I mean? It's not just about going to the South and going to a gun show and then bringing. It's just everywhere people are shooting. It's crazy, man. It's just too sick out here, son.
Yeah, I don't know if I had to guess, and we could probably research this and look up like the stats. I would probably say majority of the guns that are used to commit these crimes are illegal handguns. And that's where the lobbyists get off at, because the lobbyists are probably saying like, yo, these ain't the guns that we legally sold.
This is not NRA. These guys ain't registering
like, I think a lot of stuff are illegal handguns that people have had. I don't know if you saw, like they caught a kid from the Bronx that I think was going to college at Austin P. They caught him selling guns. Like, I think they literally got him getting off the bus at Port Authority, caught him with guns. And he was like a fool. He was like on his Instagram page with all his guns and all that. They caught him selling guns. They caught some other dude selling guns. So they cracking down and they catching up with people. But a lot of the guns, like this I-95, this 95 corridor is hot. Always has been.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Sha. I'm glad you brothers brought that up, because I mean, shoot, we live everything in social media. So you got to figure too, a lot of these situations that go on social media where people are getting, you know, caught up in the mix and stuff like that. You got somebody in their home or whatever, behind, you know, in their home or whatever, and they just looking at everything on social media. They building a paper trail. And the one thing with that is that, okay, when the people get apprehended, yeah, that's going to be the ones that's out on the street, but the ones that initiated is the ones that built the case, but you know, looking at social media, the cyber police. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, people got to wisen up, man. People got to really like just look at things for what it is and really like try to do better, because you're not going to beat the system. There's no way you're going to beat the system. That's why it's called the system. You
see what Marcellus said? My man, loyalty is demanded. The dude sold 73 guns to an undercover.
Crazy.
Crazy. 73 guns. Wow. Now that's a dude that I can see not getting bail.
Right. And that's a non-violent felony. He shouldn't get bail. You selling guns like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Now that's a dude I can see not getting bail, but I can't justify a regular dude, a dude who get caught shoplifting, and they be like, yo, well, he got caught shoplifting, send him to the island. That doesn't make sense to me. That's a waste of New York City resources.
Another thing it should
be a Khalif Browder law, son, for real.
And so they of course that 3-strike rule not going away no time soon, right? That's embedded, right?
That's probably always embedded.
Yeah. I don't know. I would imagine that that's 3 strikes right there on the first swing. 73 guns.
Yeah.
Your ass gonna fry, man. Nah,
Yep.
it has to, something has to change in the city, man, because it's getting very uncomfortable to be anywhere. Like I said, you can't even sit at the hospital.
They caught that
Come
dude
on,
too.
he deserved to get caught.
They caught him.
His ass need to sit on the Rikers right about now, son. Fuck out of here. That's just crazy, man.
Hey, I read some stuff last year. Ain't they supposed to be shutting down Rikers Island soon?
They've been trying, but okay, so if they shut it down, what they gonna do with the inmates?
Right. You know what's gonna happen? They're gonna put them out on the street. but the crazy thing about that, it's only a certain amount of quote unquote masterminds or criminal minds that can be out on the street at one time.
Look,
so what's going to be the B and C plan?
Look, this is what I was saying earlier when I said that there's a domino effect with everything that's going on. So I read an article in the newspaper last week where they're cracking down now on, like, I guess New York City's doing an investigation. They had a number of correction officers that have not reported to work, you know, as it relates to everything that's going on. I don't want to say it, as it relates to everything that's going on in the world. So they've been tracking them down, like following their Instagrams and stuff like that. And they caught a dude that was throwing a party, promoting a party, and he had all these other correction officers that were out for the same reason at the party. So Rikers Island is so high profile now because they like all these other officers are doing 3 shifts. They got all this violence going on. There's all this overcrowding and everything that's going on. That all of this stuff is under the microscope now. Like they really have to like New York City needs to step back and they need to get together a legitimate task force of creative people. And I think that the DA, even though he may not have used the correct jargon to say that he's soft on crime or whatever it is, I think that he's trying to be innovative and figure out a way how to unclog all of the overcrowdedness that they have in Rikers and a way to unclog what they got going on with their judicial system. Because there's no reason why, again, like why would you waste New York City taxpayer resources or running somebody through the system for hopping the train or stealing the bike or whatever it is.
Unpaid parking tickets or something. Yeah, like
that. I know people want blood and I know people want vengeance, but to me, like it's a better use of the police force to have them focus on the violence, the people shooting at Jacoby, the people shooting the cops, the people that shot the little 11-month-old girl. Like that to me is the stuff that they need the energy focus on. Not these dudes, that's how you call it, that, I'm gonna run this dude in for shoplifting. This dude, he's a serial shoplifter, so I got to get him to Rikers Island. Like, what's the value of that?
Things though, right? Shy, you brought up a great segue right there. Now, being that the system is the system and the system is always undefeated, they are hoping that these people that come in for the minor crimes come in, get caught up, get extorted, start doing other favors or whatever the hell, and then they in there. You know what I'm saying? You in there for something, a slap on the wrist, and you in there for like a 1 to 3 or whatever, and then some of them might not never come out. But then what happens is the flip of that is that they're getting free labor. The state's getting free labor. The longer you stay in there, they get that free labor. And that
Rikers Island, a city.
Well, no. This not. I'm talking about in general. So what happens is that you get that free labor, and you don't have to pay somebody minimum wage. You paying somebody pennies on the dollar,
prison
and you getting that free labor, and all of that flourishes out into the economy. Whether it's making license plates or whatever the hell they doing. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, the system is the system, man. People just gotta wisen up and do right. Do more good than bad.
Yeah, Janelle, that's a fact, Janelle. They need to put more preventive measures in place. That's what I was saying. Like, you think about the deterrence, like a plainclothes cop, I don't know as much as a deterrent as actually seeing a officer in
uniform. A uniform.
Yeah.
That's just, but I think that's such a primitive thought that, we probably seen it in the 80s and we didn't realize how much of a deterrent it was. That'll probably improve community relationships.
Crime still happen, but those that chose to live their life, they had to think about, yo, if I'm gonna do this, you know what I'm saying? You had to think I hate to say they had to be more creative, but that's just where it was, because you wasn't gonna do it blatantly while a police officer was there. You had to think about it. You know what I'm saying? You had to take it behind in the back blocks or whatever. You know what I mean? You couldn't just do it right there in the front like that. So
now we all know that a lot of the brothers and sisters in the hip hop community come back and visit jails with, you know, and they give motivational speakers, and then you have like professional motivational speakers that come and speak to the people that's locked down. Do you think that there has to be another type of or certain type of people that comes in and really for stuff to click in people's mind in order to let's try to shape their enthusiasm of the inmates?
This officer that just got murdered, Jason Rivera, he was from the community that he was policing. And he was a young guy. He was out there just like the beat cop that I remember as a kid would talk to the young people in the community, like, look, man, you ain't got to be out here doing X, Y, and Z. I'll support you. You know what I mean? And the presence of the uniformed cops need to be like I can't get the hospital thing out of my mind, because I remember when I used to go to the hospital, there was always a cop in a number of different places. Nothing like that would ever happen. You know what I mean? And I think that needs to happen more. Now, like I said, we talked about this before. Where are the cops? If they're not on the beat, they're in their cars, where are they? They sitting at Burger King, sitting at Dunkin' Donuts, where are they? Are they at the train station? Where the hell are they? They're not visible. And it's a lot of cops in New York City. You see on them cops that was outside for the funeral?
Yeah.
Where do all those cops be on a daily basis, B?
I can tell you where they at. You know where they at? They high call.
Tell me.
If you make these petty arrests to run a person through the system, you know how much paperwork is associated with it?
It's sitting at their desk.
So when you arrest somebody, you lock them up, you gotta go complete all that paperwork. That paperwork taking people like 4 hours to complete. So you done lock somebody up for stealing extension cords and ribs from C-Town, and you prosecute.
And you sit with your feet up on your desk. I got all this work to do. Let me just,
but that's not, honestly, that's not their fault. If the mandate says this is what we focus on, and we fighting crime, that's not the police officer's fault. That's why, again, I go back to like, what is the system? What's the mandate? What is it that we're asking police officers to do? If we're asking police officers to go out and fight crime, but we don't want to, because it doesn't sound appropriate to say that there's different levels of crime, then they just out there willy-nilly going after all types of crime. Like, some of that stuff, yes, it's a crime, but is that really, you think about, like, look, you see the stuff that people was getting locked up for when we were young. You got people getting locked up and ran through the system for hopping the train. Why is somebody going to jail for evading the $1.50, whatever it was then, for hopping the train? Why does that, you know how much money that costs the city and overtime for the police officer, and then the process, and then legal aid and all that, whatever. Like, that's a waste of resources. But it's just not attractive to say that we're not gonna focus on these crimes. Then it becomes, you're lawless. But some of this stuff they need to focus on, but it doesn't need to be their key emphasis. Like, to me, I understand what the DA is trying to say. He just needs better public relations around it, and he needs to figure out his messaging on how to say it
better. He needs to word it better. That's a fact. Yeah,
speaking of mandates, right? Besides getting the vaccine, right?
You're about to get us banned.
Be careful, bro. Be careful, son. The certain words I
No. All right. Besides getting that requirement, quote unquote requirement, right? What is one of the main catalysts for the whole starting of this segment right here, as far as with the plainclothes cops wearing the what?
What? Wearing a mask?
Wearing a mask. So now think about the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, right? You had people that would do bare face. You had people that would wear masks, but nowadays, shit, who knows the percentage of the people, New York residents, especially criminals, that's wearing masks right now. So that right there, I think, is one of the main reasons, or many reasons, why they had to bring these plainclothes cops back, because you have these people that are wearing masks, doing everything under the sun that they're not supposed to, but at the same time, you have to have proactive measures as far as plainclothes cops to try to stop the stuff before it happened, or like both of you brothers said, at least show a presence. You know what I'm saying?
They brought plainclothes police back because of public outcry. Public outcry is that there's a lot of violence and we need to do something. Here's something. They don't know if it's going to be effective
right,
or if it's going to work, right, but they're trying to throw something at it to get a solution. You know, only time will tell how successful they'll be with it. Eric Adams seems to be a smart dude. I mean, he's a former police officer also, so I think that gives him some insight into what's going on in the street, and certainly I think a level of compassion for the police officers also. So I think that he has that going for him, and I think that'll be helpful in this. But to me, sometimes, you know, when there's an issue and you just throw something at it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the solution. That's just a Band-Aid fix for now. And probably make people feel good to feel like, all right, he's taking it serious and he's trying to do something about it. The other thing that makes it fly over and be a lot more better received is that plainclothes police unit was stopped by Mayor de Blasio, and people just despise Mayor de Blasio. They thought anything that he did was foolish.
What was that? The defunding the cops movement?
Nah, that came more from a place of, again, like the stop and frisk, the implications of stop and frisk, like looking at that data and seeing how many people of color was actually the people that were getting stopped and frisked. And I think that he responded to that data, you know, so by him responding to that data and by him being pro bail reform, anytime that anything went wrong, they reverted back to those things and be like, see, if stop and frisk was still on the street, we could have got those guns off the street. Or if, you know, if this person would have never got bail, then, you know, this person wouldn't have went out and did this or did that. Like, to me, there are so many different variables that come up as it relates to these things. Like, it's hard to tell what would have happened. You know, it just looks really bad when you have a person who previously committed a number of crimes. Now, I'm in agreement with that. If you've committed a number of crimes and then you've been given bail several times, but then you continue to commit crimes, then you probably shouldn't be bail eligible, or bail should be really high. Like, that makes sense. But I think that's also like case by case and offense by offense. Like, you have people that are serial shoplifters. You know, a person who's a shoplifter, they're a danger to a business. You know, I don't know how dangerous they are that I'm concerned that they're going to be out killing people or whatever. And yes, maybe they should have to pay bail and they should have to pay restitution and things like that. But it shouldn't be a case where, all right, we got to put them in Rikers Island. And if you stole some meat from Seatown, where the hell are you supposed to get $10,000 to make bail?
Right. If you're stealing meat because you're hungry, or you know what I'm saying, you're right. That's a good point, man.
You know, so that to me is like, that's what I said. Like, we need case by case. They need case by case to look at this stuff and then make the determination as to, okay, this warrants bail. This person should get bail, or this person shouldn't get bail based on it. But it can't just be this blatant thing and nobody, you know, bail reform 100% kind of thing.
I agree.
I agree.
Man, yo, Kanye seemed to be really hot in the news cycle now, boy. He got his new lady. He working on another new album that's about to come out. And I saw something on the internet where they said that Kanye was trying to partner with Skid Row to put together a fashion show, which made sense to me because a lot of the clothing that he recently looked like is specifically designed for the Skid Row population. But I see it's been since clarified that that's not the case, Zane, that he isn't working on a fashion show with Skid Row. What are you guys' thoughts about this?
Yeah, Zane. Yeah, tackle that one.
All right. Well, like you said, Shy, he has stole the fashion swagger from the homeless people. And to make a long story short,
he jacked the homeless, son.
He jacked the homeless, man. The homeless will get some type of restitution for that, man. Something.
Homeless,
but at the same time, it's like it's like Kanye West is a brilliant. He's a brilliant mind, and it needs to be more brilliant minds like him. But Kanye West has to know every thought that channels through his mind doesn't need to be put into implementation. At the end of the day, you're gonna have, you know how many like diehard Kanye West fans there are out there? You have people that's not homeless claiming that they from Skid Row. And they're gonna be fighting the people from Skid Row to make their final cut for the damn fashion show. That's
you
if
mean,
it
so
ever
you
happens.
tell me that there's even cultural appropriation when people want to appropriate homeless people? They want to play homeless people?
Yeah. It gotta be some type of standard now. But what I'm saying is that and then the one thing too is that I don't know if you guys know, most likely you guys know, but I think the state of California is working on universal basic income. And that's something that I think that's something more that if I was Kanye West, that I would focus on. You know, trying to bridge the gap with that, with universal basic income. But even if being that they saying that he's not gonna do it, if he does do it, that'll be great, because you give a certain amount of, hopefully majority of the proceeds to go towards the homeless in Skid Row. But I would, if I was Kanye West, I would build communities. No, hear me out. I would build communities that would have like 24-hour wraparound services, to where you have the individualized IEPs and stuff like that, psyche evals. You put people to work, and they wouldn't just be home like collecting a check. You know what I'm saying? Once that domain is built, as far as for him to have, you have to have it to where, now there are some people that are like handicapped or whatever, that's homeless, that can't go to work. So you got to think of various ways in order for them to still, give some type of contribution. But at the end of the day, man, I just think that Kanye West needs to slow down. I don't know. Who the hell.
He's pretty much a soundbite now. Like anything he says or does is getting publicized, man. And to think, if you were to hire the homeless for a fashion show or whatever, I think that is a brilliant idea. To keep them off the streets.
It's not, bro.
But hear me out. Hear me out. You clean them up, but you give them a job. Listen, man, you getting them off the street?
No, but see, there are requirements though. You can't be on that runway high as hell, not at all, falling on stage.
You gotta clean them up.
You can't. Yeah, you gotta. He has to clean them up. That's why I said the wraparound services, like that, would have to be something where these people detox and want to get better. They would have to want to get better in order to even be on that damn runway.
It's a stereotype. That's a stereotype that all homeless people are on drugs.
Hey, what up? Hey.
You're looking to get sued. You're gonna get sued by a homeless person.
What's the other stereotypes? Panasonic, Sony, Sharp.
And here's the other thing. Here's the contradiction, Zane. I like where you was going with the wraparound program until you said the homeless people go home. That's a contradiction. The homeless people go home.
Clothes, but they'll be back in Skid Row. That's why I said he would have to have it to where he builds this community and have it to where they have, they can live in a home or whatever it is.
Your volume went down again.
Your volume went down again. But Kanye West is just outdoing Kanye West. Like I don't really care either way. I guess it's good if the homeless folks could do it and make some money off of it. I just don't know, like with Kanye. Like Kanye, to me, like the mania of him is like just all over the place. Like I would never deny that he is brilliant. He's a genius. He's
a Gemini like you. And what I notice about Kanye, Geminis are geared to communication. This is his way of communicating to the public by always becoming a soundbite whether it's his relationship with his wife, his kids, someone done talk shit about him, paparazzis, his boots, his shoes, his sneakers, his clothes. He has to stay. Yes, he has to stay in the public eye, man.
Hey, the main thing, right? I agree with that, Rob. The main thing, one of the main things too, is that okay, if he's gonna do this, where is he gonna have this event at? Because a lot of homeless people have COVID, if not all. So who's gonna pay? Who's gonna pay? Like, no, I'm being for real. I'm being for real. Like,
how you know all homeless people?
How many big time companies that'll be attached to that? You're not gonna have Vogue magazine and all this other stuff. You might have
yes, you will, because they're gonna be like Kanye is so innovative.
Yeah, no, they're gonna no. You're gonna have more people there to destroy him in the public eye. Okay, prime example, right? I don't know how many people there is in Skid Row that's Skid Row, but if 10% of them, not even, if 1%, not even 0.05%, 0.5% of the people get to be on that runway, if not lesser, right? Once COVID run rampant out there and wherever he has it at, they're gonna blame Kanye West.
Yo,
you're gonna have the governor, the mayor, the president, all getting on Kanye West for fucking spreading COVID.
They gonna be spreading the Omarion. That's what gonna spread.
The fact that
they gonna be spreading. That joint gonna be
COVID people. Yo, most homeless people got COVID.
God bless you, yo. God bless you. Yo, Zane, this is why I miss you, yo. I tell you from day one, you are the most important piece of part of this podcast.
Homeless people with COVID. Yo, let me say this.
Like,
Zane,
they will rip Kanye West apart.
You'll be proud of me, Zane. I heard The Weeknd's new album.
How was it?
It was, you know what? It was
shout out to G-Stat. G-Stat just joined. What up, G-Stat?
You know what it reminded me of? Peace, G-Stats. It reminded me of shopping in Abercrombie and Fitch and American Eagle. That's what it reminded me of. That's what it, like every song sound the same, and none of them were good. So
all right, tell you what, fellas, being that, do y'all think that Kim Kardashian would even if it did happen, would Kim Kardashian approve of this?
Skid Row?
The Skid Row fashion show.
That ain't got nothing to do with her.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, but do y'all think that she would approve of that?
I don't see why she wouldn't. Why would she have an issue with it?
She's all about money. And I feel that if Kanye West does this, even though, like you said, I mean, it's compliment of how, with his clothes that came out and it's Skid Rowish, but I think the value of his clothes will go down. Even though it's already overpriced, he got the holes in the shirts and all that other stuff. I think the value of that company will go down, and I think
we don't really know what type of clothing he would have on him. He might have a clean suit on him. He might just change the whole narrative and keep them.
Oh, okay. That would be disrespectful for them to have holy clothes walking on a runway, right? Nah, man, for real.
It probably be a whole nother brand.
That would be kind of foul.
Yeah, he might have a whole nother brand, a whole nother idea catered to cleaning up the homeless, and maybe that might help homelessness. Who knows, man? Listen. This is Kanye West we're talking about, bro. Someone, like I said, he's particularly a walking soundbite. And people gravitate to everything this man does, man. Every single thing.
Yo, Z, why you dodge what I said about the Weeknd album?
Oh, no. I didn't hear it yet. It really came out?
Yeah. He got a new project.
Oh, that's the one he got like the beard and all that stuff on the album cover or whatever.
I didn't look at the album cover. I
saw something on Instagram. I guess I thought it was a single. I didn't know he had a new album.
Yo, I'm gonna be
man. Hey, shout out to the Weeknd. Hey, Rob and Shannon, they always get on me about the Weeknd. The Weeknd is a very good talent, yo. all these listeners out here, can you chime in and let me know if the Weeknd is the closest thing?
Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't say it though.
Okay. Okay.
Yo,
they might log
I
off.
thought I thought it was only me after I heard the album, and I saw something online and they was talking about it. So I was like, let me read the comments. Yo, like 3 comments in, somebody was like, yo, this sound like American Eagle music. I'm like, yo, I thought
that's what he makes though, bro. That's what he makes. That's what he makes.
Yo, every song.
He makes that Forever 21, American Eagle, Abercrombie and Finch type of music, Express.
And I'm not interested. I'm not interested in that stuff. I guess that's why it doesn't resonate with me. I'm not interested in it. It just, the comments were so horrible. Somebody was like, they miss when he was on coke. Whatever, yo, that's how.
What you mean was? He probably still is.
Allegedly.
Right. Please put that. We don't need to fight
I don't want to go out like Tasha K. I don't want to go out like Tasha K.
We don't want to get sued, man.
Allegedly. Yo, I'm surprised you didn't see it though. Or you didn't see his video or listen to none of the new songs off the album.
Nah.
Did you hear any?
But
did you hear any, Rob? Huh? Did you hear any of them?
Son, I don't check for that. He ain't in my feed, son. He don't come up in my algorithms.
Yo, if anybody in the chat has heard the Weeknd's new album, put in the chat. Let us know what you think of it. I didn't. It wasn't terrible, but it just all sound the same to me, and it all sound like I said, like Abercrombie and Fitch music.
I'm gonna give it a listen after this. I'm gonna give it a listen. I'm gonna see what it's about.
What would you rate it from 1 to 10? 10 being classic.
You asked you. I know you. You asking me?
Yeah, like a 5.
Nah,
not even. Damn.
Lower.
I'm gonna go
4.5.
Nah, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with
1.5,
like a 2 or 3.
Oh my
Honestly.
God!
Yo, it's not your taste of music.
I'm gonna go with a 2 or 3 because, like I said, like you can't tell where one song starts and one song ends because everything sounds the same, and it's just
redundant.
It's
so the whole album sounds like a long ass song.
Yeah, and it's not. You know what? To me, like I don't like his vocals, like. You know, so I gave it a try. I'm like, let me hear what this is about because all people kept talking about was, the Weeknd's new album is coming out. The Weeknd's new album. And it's like, to me, like I said, like his early work in the beginning, some of his stuff I actually like when he was working with Kanye and when he was working with Drake.
Yeah.
But now I listened to that. I was like, oh.
I don't think he's hungry anymore, bro. Like he just put, like you said, like the quality got lower, even though I didn't hear this new album, but you know how it is.
He got
First
the formula.
2 or 3 albums.
He got the formula. That's what it is, and he's become, formulaic. Like all them songs, he got a hit record. He knows who his audience is, and he making records for that audience. That's why everything sound the same. And you know what? If it's working for him, it works for him. It's just.
Yeah, he got his lane.
Yeah, it's just not for me. I'm trying to figure out what kind of music does he make? Is it like him and Katy Perry and it's not his lane.
Probably just pop music. It's popular.
Definitely pop music.
Yeah, it gotta be pop.
Definitely pop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not.
But there will never be a musician better than Michael Jackson, hands down. Michael Jackson was one of a kind. He will never be topped in music history.
And then I'm gonna need you to stop comparing The Weeknd to Michael Jackson.
Well, no, I was saying that he's in this age and generation
for him.
I think The Weeknd might have sold more albums than Chris Brown, believe it or not.
Oh, you talking about accolades, not talent. You talking about accolades?
Well, accolades, no, because I think Chris Brown still has more like awards than Weeknd. But as far as like digital, being that we in that digital era, this dude has like songs on YouTube, billions of views already. Chris Brown has a few, maybe that might have hit 1 billion, but The Weeknd is just like, I mean, shout out to whatever. I think he's on OVO. He's from Canada, but them dudes is just doing it, man.
Yeah, I don't think he's on OVO anymore.
Oh no!
Nah, yeah,
Wow.
I don't think I don't think he with them anymore. But yeah, I like, to me, the modern day era Michael Jackson, to me, I would say closest thing in terms of all around entertainer, Chris Brown. You know, I think there are a lot of people say Weeknd based on the vocals, you know, but I just don't feel like that the Weeknd's vocal ability matches Michael Jackson's vocal ability.
It doesn't. It doesn't. No. But the Weeknd to me is like a mixture of I don't know who this third artist is, but the Weeknd, his catalog reminds me of like Michael Jackson and Prince. But somebody else, I can't think of who it is, but he definitely reminds me of Michael Jackson and Prince in one. I just can't. It's a third artist. I haven't really figured it out yet, but it's somebody from like the who also from the '80s. I can't figure it out yet though.
Rockwell? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yo, that's who he probably. That's probably sound more.
Yo,
like.
hey, what up? What up to my homeboy Blizzo 503 Blizzo Chopper? What up, man?
Yo,
shout out to the Hill.
Yo, that's who he most sound like though. Probably Rockwell, right?
He looked like Rockwell too, son.
I'm not. I just like I said, like I'm not. I don't know. Like I'm not. I gave it a listen because I know, Zane, you always on me about not giving a guy a shot. So I listened to it and I was like, yeah, this still ain't it for me. But I tried it.
And yo, like he dated some of the flyest damn women in the industry, like Bella Hadid, you name it. Like this dude, I think the one that he was with the longest was Bella Hadid. She's the younger sister of Gigi Hadid, you know, the big time supermodel or whatever. But I tell you what, man, the thing that really stood out to me with the Weeknd, we talked about it last year, man, when that dude did the Super Bowl. He was in that room of mirrors and couldn't get out. Like people thought it was like a part of that scene. No, he really couldn't get out. I don't know if he was high, drunk, or both, but he really had a hard time getting out that room of mirrors, man. I was like, yo.
I'll take a guess. He was high, son. He was on that candy, son. That was that candy, son.
Oh man, yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. All right, so how about this? Do y'all think that'll be a good versus battle, The Weeknd versus Chris Brown, or not? Don't even bother with it.
Don't even bother with it.
I think that would be a good The Weeknd versus what's the Rebecca Black?
Who's that?
Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
I don't even know who that
is. Yo, The Weeknd versus who's that? What's the other one? The Weeknd versus Doja Cat, maybe?
503 Blizzo Chopper, my homie, said in his song, he said he be on that sugar honey iced tea you can't smell.
Exactly.
Yeah, you see that?
That is true.
Yo, I caught flack for it, but what did I dub his music when we used to talk about it? What did I label his music?
That cocaine, that cocaine music,
that coke sniffing music.
That white line, son. That white line music, bro.
Bro, you gotta look at it. Marvin Gaye. I think even Michael.
Don't do that. Don't do that, Zane.
No, son, you're gonna lose viewers. You start talking about Michael Jackson, so don't do that, son. Don't do that.
Don't you mention it? Look at the people you mentioned. Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson.
Marvin Gaye was known to dibble and dabble, and like anybody that went down to studio, 54?
Yo, your volume is low.
Anybody that was hanging out in Studio 54 in New York, right?
Well, here's the thing, though. With Marvin Gaye and all of them,
they were getting down and dirty.
A lot of them dudes did indulge, but look at the quality of the music. How can we mention Marvin Gaye in the same breath as The Weeknd?
Well, no, I think that's one of the many people that The Weeknd, was inspired by. Marvin Gaye, like you name it, like the heavyweight. The heavyweight. And that like I don't know if he writes majority of his own music, but I'm sure. Okay, prime example, right? You ever heard that song Feels Like Summer by Childish Gambino? That sounds like something that Marvin Gaye would have made in his present day, even though the song came out like 4 years ago. Yeah, check it out. It's called "Feels Like Summer" by Childish Gambino.
Like
if you close that,
my wife loves that song, son.
Bro,
She
that
loves
sounds like
Childish
Marvin
Gambino.
Gaye right there, man. That's something Marvin Gaye would have put together right there, bro.
She loves Childish Gambino.
I've never heard a record by The Weeknd that made me say, "Oh, this sounds like Marvin Gaye." I don't see the inspiration. I'm not connecting the inspiration.
No. I feel that he was inspired by Marvin, but you never know. This dude been out maybe for what, maybe 8 years, 9 years right now. He still got a way to go. He's still, I think, in his 30s. So we're gonna see, man. But anybody that The Weeknd goes up against on Versus is gonna lose, man. I don't even think there's an artist big enough to even go against The Weeknd on Versus.
I'm not denying.
Now,
I'm not denying his following. I would never deny that he has a cult following. That's undeniable. The dude, he definitely has a cult following. I just don't. When we start talking about like the greats, mentioning him in the same breath as Prince, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye.
Too early.
Like yeah, and just vocally, like like those were singers. So to mention The Weeknd, when you start talking about Marvin Gaye, like Marvin Gaye, beyond even his music, his social economic, like his social impact in music with what's going on and Inner City Blue, all of those different songs or whatever, they have bigger implications. What's the name of that song, Zane? What's the name of that song?
All this shit like that.
Somebody buying them though.
Somebody buying a whole lot of them joints, yo.
In quite a while, I miss you, brother.
Your volume.
But
your volume.
I haven't been on the podcast in a while. I miss you, brothers, right? But I did listen to the Nas Magic album. Do y'all think we will ever get a Jay versus Nas verse?
No.
That's something.
I don't think so.
I don't think them guys is past that, man.
Mm-hmm.
They won't do that. What, now that we on it, what do you think about Busta versus Eminem?
I would say Busta has that.
I think that would be a comparable competition.
Mm-hmm.
Glad you said that. The only thing about that,
your volume, Zane, your volume.
My bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
The one thing about that, I'm glad you brought that up, Brother Rob. Now with that, Versus will get a bigger or wider audience if Eminem is involved. If Eminem is involved, anything his name is a part of, all it takes for him to go on his social media and say he's a part of Versus, that's going to bring a very vast, wide audience to Versus. But I think Busta Rhymes will watch it. I think Busta Rhymes will watch it.
Because he's white? You think because he's white, Zane?
Yeah, that'll help. No, but that'll help Versus because there's a lot of people that's non-minority that don't even know about Versus. Now, don't get me wrong, there are people that's non-minority that watch Versus, but it like once it takes Eminem to click that button and say that he's a part of the Versus platform, that's going to bring a bigger audience. I think number-wise, I think Eminem will win, but quality of music, I think Busta Rhymes should get that. Because Busta Rhymes have a better stage performance. He's very animated, vibrant. He has some of the dopest club songs that we ever heard. Like anytime I was in the club in the 90s to early 2000s, even mid 2000s, when Busta Rhymes come on, it's a whole other situation. When Eminem come on, it's like I never danced to an Eminem song ever in my life, but
he got some good joints. He got some classic joints.
He has he came out with Slim Shady. You ever danced to Slim Shady in the club?
But Zane,
but he has lyrics though.
Well, I was about to say, what's the criteria for which we evaluate in the verses based on who's gonna make you dance? That's the evaluation.
No, I would say the song structure, because a lot of times Eminem even though Busta Rhymes can switch 3 modes. He can rap medium, fast. He can do like, a little jive like slow. Eminem, mostly he just raps fast and a lot of that stuff is gonna go over people's heads, especially people that's non-Eminem fans or trying to listen to Eminem's music. With Busta Rhymes, he's been in the game longer than Eminem. And like I said, it's all about stage performance. Like, even prime example, right? One of the greatest of all time was Biggie Smalls, but he didn't have stage performance. Jay-Z don't have stage performance. Nas don't have stage performance. When it comes to stage performance, you get like Ludacris, like I said, Busta Rhymes, Mystical.
Yeah, that's true.
It's people like that, they can gravitate off the energy from the crowd. And that's something that Eminem would definitely need in order to even think about stepping on stage with Busta Rhymes.
I want to go back to something that you said, because I think you make a good point. You said that once Eminem hit that button, that's going to bring a whole new audience to Versus, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
big time.
with Eminem hitting that button and bringing that new audience to Versus, Eminem would win solely based on popularity. Because all of the people...
That's what I said. Yeah, number-wise, he will win. But quality of music...
that's going to be on and is going to be in the comments is going to be primarily because of him. But here's the other thing I think that, like about the Versus stuff to me that is kind of dry, because it's all subjective. It's a matter of which era you prefer, which kind of MC you prefer, and it's funny, I was having this discussion today and I was saying, like, I think that sometimes as Black people, we're reluctant to give Eminem his props as him being a dope rapper. Like, rarely do you see people have Eminem listed in their top 10. And I get it and I understand why. Like, if you actually sit down and break down Eminem's lyrics, like, Eminem is a lyrical dude. Now, do I have him in the top 10 if I put a top 10 list together? Probably not. Probably.
He in my top 50.
Well, he in the top 50, but I couldn't even give you 50 good rappers, to be honest with you. but how you call it? Eminem,
come on,
50 really good rappers, it'd be hard for me to give you 50.
Yes, not even rappers. I would say MCs. I'll give you 50 MCs.
It'd probably be hard for me to like to think about like 50 good MCs. It'd probably be hard for me.
I would say if Eminem and Mos Def, lyrically, I think Mos Def will wash Eminem. To me,
I don't know about that.
Now,
I don't know about that. And I love Mos.
Yeah, I don't know about
I love Mos.
Damn, y'all.
Mos can put some real wordplay together. But I don't know from a lyrical. And it's not taking nothing away from Mos. Taking nothing away from Mos. But they're just two different MCs, man. I wouldn't even pair them up.
But I tell you what, though, even though Nas had clowned Jay-Z when Eminem did the Renegade verse on Jay-Z's Blueprint, Eminem ate Nas on that damn
EPMP?
Nas King Disease. Yeah.
Did you
Eminem went
do you think that Busta Rhymes is a better lyricist, keyword emphasis on lyricist, than Eminem?
You know what? I'm going to backtrack. Lyrically, Eminem, he's in my top 50, but there's so many people that came prior to Eminem on that.
So hold on. Let me ask you this.
Right. No. Back to what you know.
Real quick, because this
number
50.
Back to
Hold
what
on,
you asked, back to what you asked.
Hold on. This number 50 is such a big number. So he's in your top 50. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Also in your top 50 lyricists, do you have Nelly?
Hell no.
Okay. Do you have let's see, do you have Mace?
Yeah. Mace in my top 50.
Okay.
No, Murder Mace. Murder Mace, not Mace.
So that tells me when we start talking about lyricism, and not to discredit anything that Mace has done as a rapper, because I think Mace is a great rapper. But when you start talking about lyricism, I don't have him as a great lyricist. And that's why I said, like, can I name 50 people that rap? Yeah. But as far as lyricism, when you start talking about lyricism, you're talking about the Black Thoughts, the Big Puns, the Big Daddy Kanes, the Nas, the Cool G Raps, the Mos Def,
Redman. I mean, this
Razzcast, OC,
yeah,
Big
Electronica,
Redman, yeah. Like, that's when you start talking about lyricism, like Inspector Deck. Those dudes, to me, those are Jizza. Those are lyricist. You know, so I'm sorry to cut you, to cut you off mid your thought, but when you start talking about 50, I'm like, yo, I'll be hard pressed to get the 50 people that I'm like, yo, damn, these is lyricists or whatever.
Speaking of 50,
there's 50 out there.
I think 50 Cent and Jay-Z will be an excellent battle.
Do you think
50 can go with it?
Do you think 50 Cent is a great lyricist?
He's a great rapper, but I think
is he in your top 50?
No. But 50, he was, I would say, the last artist as far as rapper to change the game in a major way. Record sales, publicity, all the other good stuff, staying the beast, kept his name, in media. But
he's used his career wisely because he's ventured off into many other fashion, the vitamin water. He's used his career and his popularity to a great extent.
Royce the 5'9" in your top 50.
Yes.
Yeah, that dude is dope. I think Royce the 5'9" don't get the credit that he deserves.
The whole Slaughterhouse. I even put Budden in there.
Joe Budden.
Button is definitely in there. Button is definitely in there, but I think Royce the 5'9", that dude is like, man, that dude is very out of all of Slaughterhouse. I think the most slept on out of Slaughterhouse, I would say, is
Crooked Eye,
Yellow Wolf, and
Joel Ortiz is dope too, Charlie.
This is nice.
Joel Ortiz. Because when you think of Slaughterhouse, you only think really the first two names that pop up is Joe Buttons and Royce the 5'9".
Joel Ortiz.
Don't sleep on Crooked. And Crooked is a beast, son.
What
Crooked
about Lloyd Banks? Lloyd Banks, top 50.
He's an MC. He's better than 50.
Lloyd Banks.
I said it here first. He's better than 50.
He is.
Lloyd Banks changed the game too.
He is.
See, but I always felt that Lloyd Banks was just as good as Fabulous as far as cadence, as far as rhyme flow and pattern. He's like Fabulous. But I think it's going to be very tough for the upcoming verses to top what Jada did. Jada like really made verses what it is, man, as far as in a hip hop standpoint. There were R&B stuff that was good too, but hip hop standpoint, Jada changed the game with that.
What about again, we talking lyricists, Snoop Dogg, top 50 lyricists.
He's a rapper.
Yeah, he's a rapper, entertainer, always kept his name relevant like Diddy.
Corrupt.
Like Jay-Z.
Snoop freestyle. Corrupts as an MC.
Corrupt.
Yeah, Corrupt is nasty.
But is he
Corrupt's
top 50?
in my top 50.
Is he top 50?
He's in my top 50.
I think he's
in my top 50.
Exhibit.
He'll be like number Exhibit. I haven't heard that much from him since the Paparazzi song. That might have been the only song I heard from him when he was killing it. And yeah, I only heard that one song from Exhibit. The only other thing I know about
the Chronic, Ice Cube, another one. Ice Cube, top 50 lyricists.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to give Cube his just due. I think Cube was in my top. He's in my top 25.
Chuck D.
Absolutely.
Top 25.
Now, what if I told you Smooth the Hustler wrote some of Chuck D's recent rhymes?
Ooh.
I wouldn't be surprised because hey, Smooth the Hustler was writing Foxy stuff too. Shout out to Smooth the Hustler, man. We had Trigger the Gambler's brother on there last week, but Smooth the Hustler was writing Foxy stuff.
So can you be a top 50 lyricist or somebody writing your rhymes?
Hell no. You ain't writing your own joints.
It depends how much the person wrote.
Nah, you disqualified. That ain't your pen.
Okay, Drake, right?
No, Drake is not a top 50 lyricist.
No. I'm saying as far as Drake, right? Drake had what's the guy that came out and said he was Drake's writer? I can't remember the guy's name, but it was the guy that Meek Mill
that they attacked you.
Now, yeah, the whole time. Oh, Quentin Miller.
Yep.
The whole time I'm thinking that Drake wrote all of his stuff, then Quentin Miller came out of nowhere, and I'm like, damn. I would say Pusha T. He got a new album coming out too.
He's an MC.
Yeah.
He just left good music. Kanye gave him his release for him.
Yeah, I would say Pusha T. But my point is that I think it's harder to get to 50 than what you think, because we named quite a few people. I don't even know if that's 20. When you start talking about lyricists, we're not talking about rappers. We talking about lyricists.
I'll have to sit down and really look. I got to look through my catalog, because I like brothers like Ransom. Ransom is an MC.
But you will put Ransom as a top 50 lyricist?
In top 50?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nah.
I'll put Ransom in there. I'll put Elzai from Detroit in there.
Elzai, yeah, I can see that, but I don't know about no Ransom. I couldn't have Ransom.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen to some of his work, man. He got some dope joints.
Cool G is top 10. Cool G is top 10 to me. Your volumes, ain't.
Of course, Rakim, that goes without even saying.
Mm-hmm.
What about Ed O.G.?
Nah, not a top 50 for me.
No, top 50. Top 50.
Not a top 50 for me.
Not a Ed O.G. on top 50?
Nah. I'm from
Master
Rock Berry, but not the fruit, y'all. Nope. Common, probably.
Master
top 50
Ace.
Common. I will put
Common, yeah.
top 50. We can't hear you, Zane.
Nah, he'll be in my top 100, not top 50 as far as Common. Common is number 4.
I got
top
Common
100?
Top 50.
Top 100.
I got Common as top 50. So, yo, we talking about lyricism, right? I Used to Love Her is one of the greatest hip hop concept songs ever.
You trying to sell me on that point, bro? No.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion, I would have him in the top 50. I would definitely have him in the top 50.
There's a lot of MCs out there, man. They just don't get the shine.
What about Ghostface?
I'd probably say yeah. I could have Ghostface in my top 50.
Slick Rick?
Absolutely.
Slick,
top 50?
Come on, Shy.
In top 50, you wouldn't have Slick Rick in there?
I'm thinking because I'm a Slick Rick fan. I'm thinking about like his body of work and everything. It's not much. I probably would have him because, like I said, like 50 to me is a big number for me to identify 50 people. When you start talking about lyricism, like to me, Slick Rick, storytelling hands down. You know, wordplay. When I start thinking wordplay, I start thinking about like people like G-Rap, wordplay, pun, wordplay.
Shout out to Pun. RP, yep. And like you said, Inspector Deck. Inspector Deck is the best at setting off the weekend
Havoc.
song.
What about Havoc?
No, what about Prodigy?
Havoc has improved a lot.
Prodigy, of course. But Havoc, what about
Beat-wise, I would say Havoc.
Talking about lyricism, no
I would say Prodigy, man. I would say Prodigy over Havoc, bro.
Of course.
Havoc got
but
some
come
shit.
to find out, I didn't know that Havoc at the beginning was writing Prodigy's lyrics.
Raps, yeah.
Shout out to Havoc. Yeah.
But
what about Tragedy?
I don't have Havoc as top 5. Top
wow.
50.
Tragedy.
Tragedy top 50?
Rob. I'm glad you brought that up. Tragedy, he is
top 50.
He is definitely in the top 50. Like, Tragedy gets that same type of situation that Royce the 5'9" get to me. Like, he doesn't get his just
like,
due.
He got some lines that if you listen to Trag, you be like, ooh, this dude. I may have him in my top 50.
Where did he come from with that one, right?
Yeah, I may have him.
Big shout out to Tragedy from Queensbridge. Check out that episode of No Ideas Original last year.
Definitely Styles P.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, there's a lot of people. All right,
there's a lot of MCs, huh? There's a lot of MCs.
Nicki Minaj.
What about Vanilla Ice?
Safari's writing her shit early, so no.
Vanilla Ice, man.
Yeah, I got Vanilla Ice in my top 50 million. top 50 million. But yo, my point is with this, like, yo, it's always gonna be debatable, but to me to find 50 MCs like with lyricism like that,
it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Now I could probably do it. I start digging up and like, yo, okay, because I start going to Pharaoh Monch and this, that, or what. Like, yeah, I could get you 50 if that's what you get. But the reality of it is like, who else?
Nah, go ahead, Sha.
Yeah, I said, but the reality of it is like, yo, to find 50 dudes, 50 lyricists is 50 really good MCs that's lyricists is hard. And that's what I'm saying. Like with that Eminem versus Busta matchup, I think that'd be a good matchup. I just don't know if, based on Eminem's popularity, that Busta would be, you know. And then again, you start talking about relevancy. You know, songs like, to me, Busta's last album was dope.
I still ain't hear it yet.
That's to me because I'm an avid listener of hip hop. You know, I could put it out, put it on in the car, you know, and be like, oh, this is hot, whatever. But to the general masses, I don't know how they would embrace it. And then, you know, once they get on that live and Eminem's hundreds of thousands of millions of fans show up, you know. But I do say,
shout out to Loyalty is Demanded. He said drag on.
Yeah. We have to, how you call it, though, we do have to stop fronting on Eminem because he ain't a person of color.
Yo. Oh no, it's not that. It's not that.
Lord Jamal said he's a visitor, son.
Nah, no, Eminem is nice, man. All right, but one name that I didn't hear you guys say, and I'm as far as this rap stuff, I'm gonna ask you this as my final question as far as this situation. Y'all didn't mention Tupac. Is Tupac a lyricist or a rapper? Or an MC or a rapper to y'all?
That's, you know,
the rapper to me.
That's always been a tough one for me because I always felt like Tupac made great songs. To me, Tupac made great songs, and like what I mentioned about Marvin Gaye earlier, like the social impact, like I think Tupac was brilliant in that magnitude. But when you start talking about like wittiness and wordplay and all that, like, you know, when you line up and you like, who's the top five? Like, I would put Biggie before Tupac, you know, because I just think Biggie was more witty and had better wordplay. So I've always struggled with
even based upon the extensive catalog that Pac has. Like if you had 20 Pac songs against 20 Biggie songs.
You know why? Because I'm always a person that I've always thought quality trumped quantity. Like that's why when I listen to an album, I prefer an album with 10 songs, 8 of them good versus 25 songs and 5 of them
and 12 good. Garbage.
Right? Yeah, so you know how you call it. Like to me, I would never deny the impression that Tupac made on hip hop, his talent, his ability. But when you start talking about lyricism and all that, like I've never had him as being in my top 2 or 3 people, you know, as the best.
I gotta sneak one in, Sean Rob. Grand Puba.
Oh, classic. He's an MC.
In 50, probably. Like I said, 50 is a big number.
Yeah.
I'll put Puba in there.
50 is a big number, so probably, you know. But I mean, what about Fat Joe?
That's a fat no.
Fat Joe has gotten better. He has definitely gotten better over the years.
That's a fat no.
Fat Joe got better writers over the years.
He's gotten better over the years.
Oh man,
he's definitely much better from Jealous One's Envy. Definitely that.
But you know something? We mentioning people based on nostalgia. We would have to sit down and compile this list based on accurate, you know, facts. Not
and we'll probably all have 50 different people probably.
Yeah, like, oh, yo, Diamond D's first album, Stunts, Blunts, and Hip Hop was crazy. I got Diamond D in the top 50.
Yo, shout out one of my favorite artists.
Shout out the Ring.
One of my favorite artists is Andre the Giant.
AG. Shout out to AG from Showbiz and AG. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Can I get a soul clap?
OC.
Yeah.
Oh, how can we forget that? Hey, when OC came out, shout out to OC. For the people that's listening, check out the No Ideas Original podcast interview with the God OC, man. It was definitely a lot of gems dropped on that. But OC, when he came out with Time's Up, he went at the industry, bro. You lack the minerals and vitamins, irons and the nice.
Killed it.
J. Rue the Damager.
Damn, oh, that's a classic right there.
Top 50?
He's top 50.
I listened to this.
He would be in my top 50.
Bro, I listened to his first album yesterday, The Sun Rises in the East. Ain't the Devil Happy? That still resonates to today, bro. That song is like incredible.
That's in my playlist.
Top 50. I don't got.
What's up with Cormega? Cormega. What do you rate Cormega?
I don't know if I don't know if I got Cormega in my top 50 I would, you know who I would put in my top 50?
He's
Buckshot.
51.
Buckshot.
Oh, damn. Buckshot Shorty. Damn.
Buckshot. I would put Buckshot in my 50.
Sean Price. Sean Price.
I would, here's
Sean
another one.
Price.
I would also put Tretch.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Bro, it's so many, man.
I would definitely put Tretch in there. That's a fact.
Tretch definitely got to be in there.
No, of course.
Tretch.
Of course, Big Daddy Kane.
Would y'all put Fife?
Fife was hard. I like Fife, but he wouldn't be in my top 50.
No.
Yo, for those that just joined us, we talking about top 50 MCs of all times and just throwing out names of who we think would be in the top 50.
Pretty much the most slept on MCs that no one talks about.
To me, there was a point where there's always a time in hip hop. I don't know if y'all noticed it, but there's always a time in hip hop when there is either a person that's the king, they're the epitome of it, where everybody hands down like, yo, this dude got it at this point. Like I think Nas had it, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, all of them had it at some point. But then there's always another point in hip hop that I tell people about where there's always like this point where like, damn, like they was right there to have it. And a couple of people that I think about is Big L. Big L to me was like right there. We're like, damn, Big L might be.
I got a name.
You know,
for y'all. I'm gonna let you finish. I got a name for y'all.
Fife was another one. Fife? And there was you know who was the one to me that I was like, damn, like yo, this person probably got it. Prodigy.
I think I know who you're gonna say.
Prodigy was like, yo, after I think I Shot You came out, and Prodigy was talking about.
We even mentioned LL.
Yeah, like yo. Back on the real side of things, swing crack, fat dot. Yo, Prodigy had it.
How we didn't mention KRS One?
Okay, I mean that's
a no-brainer. Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's obvious.
Okay, what about when you just mentioned that as far as the ones that was right there?
I think Jay
Electronica was right there, but his work ethic, his work ethic
early
is too
for
lazy.
me to put him. Too early. Tretch was a problem. Yeah, Tretch.
I got three right now.
Tretch was crazy.
Paz and Dave and Beanie Siegel.
Beanie, I would say
Siegel. Well, Paz the News.
I would probably say yeah. I would probably say
hey,
say
Shy, I'll be Shy Rob. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yo,
I'm gonna chime over.
I would probably say for Paz. I think Paz was like an underrated lyricist that a lot of people don't realize his talent and his ability. So yeah, I could see him. Q-Tip, I would probably say no.
Tip is a rapper.
I like him as an artist, but when you start talking about like lyricism, like nah.
Yeah. Cameron.
Early Cam's first album.
You know who was slept on too? Two dudes from the Roots. Malik B.
And was the other dude? Dice Raw was his name? What was the other dude?
Dice Raw, son. That's my dude right there, son. Dice Raw can give you that heat.
Yeah, the Roots.
Most people that me and my man, shout out to you, Chenna, Uche, we love MF Doom.
Yeah, yo,
Doom was a problem.
That's what I'm saying. Like those are the dudes when you start talking about lyricism and MCing, like those are the dudes. Like you can't bring up Mace, no disrespect to Mace, because like I said, like to me, Mace is a dope artist. But when you start talking about lyricism, I don't know if I would have Mace in that lyricism. What about Cannabis?
I think Mace, when Mace was the murder Mace, his cadence and his wordplay really fit. But then I just used the word commercial. He went that route and he started playing with like I can make this look easy, and he just made those songs that came very simple, very easy, and they pop. You know what I'm saying? Puffy made them songs pop, man.
Yeah, because you heard all that Big L influence. All of them had the Big L influence early on, but then afterwards, once Puffy sprinkled his touch on it, it became something different. But Cam's first album, Cam was spitting on that first album. The second album too.
Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe's nice. I would probably have him top 50 MC. I think to me Lupe he's underrated.
He's very underrated.
Yeah, he's underrated. Very talented.
He sold me with kick bounce. I was like, damn, this is some new shit.
Kick push. Kick bounce.
Kick push. Kick bounce. I'm making up shit now. Yeah. Yo, Cuzzo, what's up? I see you out there, Cuzzo. Yeah, treacherous is definitely a problem, B. Treacherous is definitely a problem. Cannabis.
That's what I said. Cannabis. What do you think?
You just said cannabis. Yeah, he's an MC, son. He took it to L. Second round, he took it straight to L chin. I don't give a fuck what nobody say.
Yeah, his rhymes better than
he didn't follow up. He didn't follow up too well, but second round knockout was a classic.
You know what though, fellas? L had the damn cheat code, man. Cannabis song was like 3 minutes. LL song was like 8 minutes, man.
L won a popularity contest. L's lyrics wasn't better than Cannabis lyrics on that.
It wasn't. Yeah.
You know, there was a time where people were scared to get on the track with Cannabis too.
That's a fact.
Like, I would probably say like 96, well, it was probably like 96, 97, 98. When Cannabis was on fire, people wasn't trying to get on no tracks with Cannabis.
The main two that had incredible verses on that Firm album was Cannabis and Half a Mil. Shout out RP to Half a Mil.
Yo,
Half a Mil was ahead of the time.
What about his one? His one that's gonna bug you out. Lyricist, top 50 lyricist, Sticky Fingers.
Wow.
Sticky was kind of nice.
Sticky was great. He
was
great.
Sticky was kind of nice.
When Honest came out, everybody waited for that Sticky.
He's very clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time with that.
What about Gifted Unlimited Rhymes Universal?
I love Guru, but I don't know if I got him a top 50 MC. Yeah.
Nah, I tell you what really helped Guru was the beat production by DJ Premier.
His voice too, I think, his cadence.
Yeah, his voice, the cadence, yeah.
You can have the average rapper that says Jack and Jill went up the hill. But if Guru was on the beat, it's gonna sound classic.
I mean, he made Little Dap and Group Home, right? He made them sound great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm telling you, Sticky Fingers to me is an underrated lyricist.
I tell you what, too, we ain't gonna be no male chauvinists. There are a lot of female MCs out there that were great too, such as MC Light. Who else?
Is MC Light a top 50 MC?
No. But as far as females, yes.
No.
Female,
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that.
To me as a man,
we're not gonna do that. Top 50 MC, Latifah.
No. Latifah is up there. Latifah, I think she still don't get the credit she deserves.
But that was Tretch's
She
pin.
transitioned.
That was Tretch's pin. You know that, right?
Really?
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Damn.
That was Tretch's pin.
Shout out to Tretch, man.
Little Kim, Foxy Brown.
What about T.I.?
T.I. be tripping, man. Like, this dude said that he would go against Jay-Z, Nas, and somebody else in the verse.
Them based on their lyricism. He evaluate them on who they are as people.
Like, T.I. be using T.I. Don't get me wrong, T.I. He's good, but I wouldn't put T.I. over Scarface.
We even mentioned Scarface.
T.I. falls in that category of what I said. Remember I said that there were people that was on the cusp, right? On the cusp. Kareem got it. Lauryn Hill, top 50 MC. Yep.
No, I said Lauryn Hill.
Lauryn Hill probably, I'm going to go as far as saying Lauryn Hill's a top 10 MC to me.
Yeah.
Lauryn Hill will wash a lot of these rappers and MCs out here.
She kick a lot of niggas' asses, for real.
But T.I., again, is one of them dudes that I think was right on the cusp, but like he was next. But what derailed T.I. is when he ended up going to jail. But he was like there. He was next to blow.
Mm-hmm.
Roxanne Shante.
Nope. Sorry.
No?
Nah.
Sorry.
Lauryn Hill.
Not my top 50.
Lauryn Hill. And if Nicki Minaj was actually writing her rhymes, I would say Nicki Minaj is the top 50 MC if she actually wrote those rhymes.
And that's the main
Andre
question.
3000, Andre 3000 is the top 50
Shout out
MC.
to Reem, yeah, Andre 3000.
So
I
is
forgot
Big
about
Boy.
him.
So is Big Boy.
Big Boy. Damn.
Twister.
Nope, not for me. Memphis Bleak.
Nah,
He's in the top 5,000. He's number 5,000.
Young Chris.
not for me.
Young Chris.
Young Chris is good with the pen. He write a lot of stuff for Wale, allegedly. But I had to put that allegedly in there. Young Chris is nice. He wouldn't be in my top 50, though. He'll be in my top 200.
Damn, 200?
Yo, it ain't even 200 rappers.
Right.
For real.
Yo, he right there. He's 160 and Mac 10 was 161.
Special ed. Special ed.
No. Not the top. Not to me.
There's so many damn rappers, man. Oh shit. Did anybody mention
Luda? Kareem said Luda. I don't have Luda as a top 50 MC.
Nah, Luda got balls, man.
Did we say Redman?
I said Redman. Luda controlled the 2000s, man. I mean, 50 was there, but Luda. I like Luda.
Oh,
I don't got him.
Lil Wayne?
I would say yeah.
I would say yeah. I was.
Rob, Google searching.
Killer Mike.
Nah, I wouldn't say. I like Killer Mike, but I wouldn't have him in my top 50.
As an MC, nah.
Joel Santana?
No.
All right.
Jim Jones either.
I almost spit out my fucking drink. Oh my God.
Jim Jones, though?
Nah,
I tell you, Jim Jones got
he has improved his pen.
Definitely. I want to hear that Lobby Boys album, too.
Most certainly, he has improved his pen, and he's been more consistent than I ever thought he would be.
It's Fab
at this point.
Cameron.
EMC.
Cameron?
Who?
Fab.
Cameron.
Fab? Yes, sir.
I don't know.
I give Fab his flowers in that regard.
With bars like this, I'm too old to kid you. I gotta adult you.
That's who?
That's Fab.
Fab.
And the soul food joint. I'm too old to kid you. I gotta adult you. And you got him as a top 50 MC?
Yeah.
I would pick Cam over Fab. When you listen to Cam stuff, they might say he be doing like jibber jabber,
right? Before he got confused.
No, before that. Yeah, before that. When you listen to Cam stuff and break it down, like he's actually saying some.
Yeah.
Aruga
the schooler, to your medulla ruler, to your full cooler. Put your food in the cooler.
He's stupid.
Measure snow with a ruler.
AZ probably, yeah. AZ.
But Bun B.
No.
I'm just throwing it out there now. I'm throwing names out there now.
Mixtape Nature.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yo, you put a top 50 MC on the strength of Clue tapes. Snagglepuss.
Now that's
hell no.
Damn.
that was all right. He was all right. He was. See, he had that much of a body of work outside of mixtape.
Yes,
it's perfect for his time.
I
give it to him.
I cooler the schooler. I tell you the hula.
It's a lot of Brooklyn people in Brooklyn. I'm trying to filter through Brooklyn. Shit.
Little C's. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Damn. Raekwon.
I don't know.
Yeah, he'd be in my 50.
I don't know.
He's one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah,
shout out to
I like him? Yeah, but my criteria for MC is like the ultimate wordsmith. That just the bars and the we start talking about double entendres and wordplay and
RZA.
No.
RZA?
No, but Jizza.
No.
I would say Jizza, but not RZA, but Jizza.
He got a new mixtape out too. Shout out to Jizza.
Yeah.
Came out like 2-3 days ago.
What about Master Killer?
He's nice too. I think he's underrated.
I don't think I've ever listened to a Master Killer album in its entirety.
I haven't either. I listened to like maybe 3 cuts off the albums that maximum 3 cuts off the albums that he put out. But that dude, he has a little mystique to him as far as his flow and all that. Very first verse was what Mystery of Chess Boxing. He came off and he was at the end, and his delivery was so different from everybody else that he had, he didn't sound like nobody. Capadonna.
Not for me.
I like Cap.
That Capadonna went to Wars verse. I thought he was like the brainchild.
That don't make you a top 50 MC though. One verse. Yo, with a broken clock is right at least 2 times a day. See, that's the thing. Like, anybody could get lucky one time. Anybody could have a dope verse one time.
Consecutive? No, right. When he came out with that damn verse, bro, I thought he was like the mastermind.
Yo, you know what we gotta wrap up for tonight. But you know what we should talk about on the next show? We should talk about is there any rapper who has never had a dope verse? That they literally haven't had one.
Oh, it's plenty.
One dope.
It's plenty. It's plenty.
You got.
Who you said, Rob?
You got.
No, you got came off. No. I ain't gonna fight. You got came off. You got came off on the You got came.
Oh, I'm gonna give it to you with no trivia.
Nah, you got best verse. His best verse was on Triumph to me. His best verse ever was on Triumph.
I agree.
But you can't say protect your neck too. The B while you.
But Triumph. I don't know if you know what, Rob, you may be on the side. I don't know if I would say that was a dope verse, but that was his best verse. He said, Rob ain't even have to think twice. He said, you got it.
Yo, son.
But that's hard for me to think about it. like, and you can't go to no Tone Lokes, Vanilla Ice, none of those. You got to go to people that we all know and that other people respect as rappers or MCs and tell me like, yo, tell me one of them who they've never had a dope verse.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a good. I like that. All right. That sounds good. Yeah.
Now you gotta go through a catalog and listen to a whole bunch of terrible music.
One-hit wonders.
But you know something? Remember, the criteria is a dope verse, not mediocre, because there are some people who have mediocre verses, all the time, but but they never made you be like, yo, hold on, rewind that back. What he said? You need to find a person.
Yeah, once you get somebody to you hit the rewind button, like I gotta hear that again. Like
that's where it is. Yep.
Still, Rob may have got. I don't think I've ever rewind back a You Got verse.
Nah, son, I haven't. Never. Never. I'm no disrespect to the gods, son. I never did.
You got one of them like, hey, I gotta get on your show because I heard about y'all going at me.
Hold on, Kareem said, you think Cormega never had a dope verse, Kareem? I think Cormega had plenty of dope verses, honestly.
No, I think he's naming the other MCs that had, because he was right above that. He put AZ, so I'm sure he ain't talking about Cormega had a whack verse.
I got one.
Oh, Rock! Hey, we forgot, man. Rock Marciano.
Rock Marciano. Oh, Ron Fest.
Yeah.
I like Rock Marciano. I like Rock Marciano too.
I'm trying to think of Cormega. Cormega's had verses to me that I've listened to. I'm like, damn, that's a dope verse. Little Fame from
MOP.
So, yo, hold on. For the people in the comments, are we naming people that we still think are MCs, or are we saying that these are people who never had a dope verse?
Nah, I gotta be MC.
Because Lil Fame, I think he had a dope verse before.
Shout out to MOP. Another thing too, check out that No Ideas Original Podcast interview with Billy Dance from MOP too when y'all get a chance.
What about the dudes that that we was talking about earlier from the group home? I don't think they ever had a dope verse.
Lil Dap?
Nutcracker?
Yeah, Lil Dap and what's the other dude? Nut? What's his name?
Nutcracker. Like that, yeah.
I don't know if I ever heard a dope verse from them. Okay, all right. He said they're MCs. They qualify. Little Fame, I think I'll probably have, and I could see him in a top 50 MC. Damn, yo, you make me feel bad about You God though.
You like You God? That's
No,
all right if you like
I
it,
like
son.
Wu-Tang as a collective, so it's hard for me to, you know, I like Wu-Tang as a collective, so it's hard for me to single out that my least favorites is probably him and Master Killer.
Yeah, because
What was your put?
them two are hit or miss, especially Master Killer, because there's some joints that I absolutely love of
I
Master
like
Killer.
Master Killer
But
on
like you
Glaciers of
said,
Ice.
but if you listen to a whole album, after you hear the joints that you like, you be like, where did he go with that? Like, he just messed up the flow with that shit.
I like Master Killer on, was it Glaciers of Ice that he on?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I like him on that. But yo, Rob, you said that they hit or miss. You just said you got ain't never had a hit. Everything all misses.
Nah, you know what? Because there was one album I did, and I went through it, and it might have been one or two songs. I was like, that was good. But when you putting a body of work as an album together, you get one or two songs that's all right, and the rest of your shit is like, you should have just dropped a single, homeboy, 2 singles, and that's it, not a whole project.
Guys, second best verse besides the Triumph verse to me was when he did Impossible.
I can't hear you. When he did what?
I said, you guys' second best verse besides the Triumph song was when he did the verse on Impossible on the Wu-Tang double album with him, Ghostface, and RZA.
I probably didn't listen to it, honestly. Like
Eric
I was
Sermon.
not a You God fan, Barbie.
Eric Sermon?
Lyricist? MC? Top 50 MC? No, not for me.
I always thought Parrish Smith was better than Eric Sermon.
Me
my
too.
opinion.
But
Smith,
Eric Sermon did have that dope album though. What was the first solo album? I forget the name of it, but that first solo album with Hostile on it with Keith Murray. That was a dope album.
Oh damn. We ain't mentioned Keith Murray. Was Keith Murray that he came in with a different style, but he wouldn't be in my top 50. But I think Keith Murray is in the same like lane as Cannabis. He came in, it was hot, then went lukewarm real quick.
I agree.
What about the dude from Lost Boys? As far as party music. Ask me that real quick.
Thank you
as far as party music.
Yo, Zane be changing the criteria where Mr. Cheeks is a top
real quick,
yo, wild dude. Yo, thank y'all for tuning in to No Ideas Original Podcast. We catch y'all next week. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.